Do you need that reg bun?
Mayonnaise is alright, and it's not overpowered with rabbit food, so I'm happy with that as well.
You have a chicken breast fillet with some mayo.
You think you're ordering the healthy option when you pick McDonald's grilled chicken? Employees say it's pre-cooked, frozen, and sprayed with fake grill marks long before it hits the store. That juicy look comes from salt water injection, not freshness. We're pulling back the wrapper on why that grilled chicken might actually be worse for your heart than a double cheeseburger, and how the marketing makes sure you never notice the difference. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. Costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now back to the video. If those grill marks on your McChicken look too perfect, that's because they are. The grilled chicken sandwich is sold as the clean, responsible choice, the kind of meal you reach for when you're tired of greasy burgers but still want something quick. The ads show a juicy piece of meat with fire-seared stripes and crisp lettuce, like a guilt-free lunch you can eat at your desk. But behind the counter, employees know that marked-up patty never saw a real grill, and those stripes were branded onto the meat at a processing plant weeks earlier. The chicken doesn't arrive fresh. It comes pre-cooked and vacuum-sealed in tidy frozen packs. Each patty is already dimpled with those trademark grill marks, as if made to look freshly turned by hand. When it's time to serve, the staff reheats the patty, often in a microwave, and then sets it briefly on the grill, not to cook, but to warm the exterior. It never touches open flame long enough to change color, let alone create real flavor. What you taste as grilled is mostly the illusion stamped at the factory and reheated for show. That illusion doesn't stop with appearances. The meat inside has already been treated with a salt water and phosphate injection, meant to swell the fibers and lock in water. The result is a patty that stays moist even after sitting in a freezer for weeks. It gives the bite a soft chew, but not the kind that comes from genuine freshness. It's like buying pre-tanned leather and calling it sunlight brown. Processed shine pretending to be natural wear. This trick has another upside for the company. Every milliliter of added brine increases the product's weight. That means they sell you more by selling you water. The problem is you also swallow much more salt than you expect. A grilled chicken sandwich can push past 1,000 milligrams of sodium, more than what you find in plenty of regular burgers. You think you're skipping the grease, but you're swapping it for a hidden salt bomb. That heavy sodium load doesn't come from seasoning at the restaurant. It's baked into the system long before the chicken hits the freezer. The chain can ship, store, and sell the same patty worldwide, identical in shape, flavor, and size. That consistency is gold to a fast food operation, but it comes at a price. Real grilled chicken varies, it dries out, burns, even shrinks. Factory-stamped patties don't. They stay uniform because their moisture and color are engineered. The more controlled the supply chain, the fewer surprises, and the less you're eating anything close to real food. That's how a product billed as grilled and wholesome ends up with more additives than the burger it's supposed to replace. So now that the chicken's halo has slipped, let's look at what happens when that same processed patty lands on something labeled much fresher, the so-called salads. You grab a McDonald's salad thinking you just made the smart move. No fries this time, no extra cheese, just the light option that makes you feel like you're balancing things out. It looks clean and responsible, a small win in a day that's already overrun with quick fixes. That's the trade-off everyone recognizes. Give up the fry box and feel a little less guilty about lunch. But behind that plastic lid is a meal that, according to employees, carries the same baggage as a burger, just in a greener disguise. Dressing, the sprinkle of shredded cheese, and that so-called grilled chicken on top, you're above the calorie line of some regular burgers. The Southwest or chicken bacon salads are especially heavy hitters. Employees point out that the dressing alone can deliver more calories and fat than a small order of fries. You don't taste the excess because the ranch or chipotle dressing buries everything in a thick, creamy sweetness that feels satisfying until you realize what it's masking. It's not just a drizzle, it's the whole disguise. And the base of it all, the lettuce that's supposed to be crisp and garden fresh, doesn't exactly start that way. Workers say those greens come pre-washed and pre-cut, sealed in massive bags, and stored in walk-in coolers for days. The longer they sit, the more they lose their crunch. Some edges turn brown, some leaves soften. A quick trim with a dull knife makes them camera-ready again, but the freshness is long gone. By the time you get it, it's a handful of limp greens trying to look perky under fluorescent light. Then comes the topping that's supposed to make the salad meal-sized. Employees assemble them with the same chicken you heard about earlier, either that sodium-pumped grilled patty sliced into pieces, or chopped-up nuggets passed off as protein choice. Once the heavy dressing hits, it's hard to tell what you're eating. There's no sizzling, no seasoning, just cold chicken bits dropped into a plastic bowl seconds before the lid snaps shut. The ad might show a rainbow of hand-tossed ingredients, but the real assembly line is a refrigerated counterstocked with bulk bins and plastic scoops. It's that gap between the marketing and the prep that tells the story. In the commercials, it's a fresh garden harvest. In reality, it's closer to a cold storage section dressed in leafy camouflage. The same engineered chicken from the healthy sandwich ends up here too, buried under cheese and sodium but wrapped in a moral victory. You think you traded calories for nutrition, but you mostly traded packaging. And if the salads and chicken both wear that fake health glow, what happens when you reach for the drink that's supposed to cleanse the guilt? A cup labeled McCafe? You trade the soda for a McCafe drink because coffee has to be healthier, right? That foam, that caramel drizzle, the swirl of chocolate, it all looks like an adult upgrade to a sugary habit. A latte feels refined, like something from a real cafe, only cheaper and faster. But what you're actually getting is closer to liquid dessert. Those fancy drinks can load up more than 60 grams of sugar in a single cup, enough to rival an entire slice of cake and a soda combined. So that better choice you pat yourself on the back for is really more of a sideways move. Same sweetness, different cup. These drinks are built for that sweet jolt. The base coffee beans are cheap and roasted darker than usual, leaving a harsh aftertaste that sugar has to cover. Instead of balancing acidity and flavor like a barista blend, McCafe goes all in on syrup, whipped toppings, and cream to smother the bitterness. The result is a flavor that feels rich for a minute, then turns cloying and heavy. That's how they hook you. You get the illusion of sophistication, but it's wrapped around what's mostly flavored sugar. Employees say even they avoid these drinks because the sweetness is insane. Dig deeper and things get less appetizing. Those machines that blend the fraps and steam the milk require regular deep cleaning, a task that's complicated, time-consuming, and often skipped during rush hours. One worker described the buildup inside as something that would stop you from ever ordering another. Daily cleaning logs exist, but in busy stores, that step is often trimmed down to a quick rinse and wipe. The leftover mix can sit for hours behind the metal covers, slowly turning sticky. The problem isn't just about mess. That buildup becomes part of every batch pumped through the system. So while the cup looks cafe-ready, the path it took may not be as clean as the label. And here's the kicker, the calorie count on a large mocha or caramel drink often beats out the milkshake sitting on the dessert menu. A large mocha frappuccino hits around 560 calories, packing 71 grams of sugar. That's a milkshake in everything but name. Even the simple sweet tea is loaded. One large serving carries 38 grams of sugar, nearly 10 teaspoons. Is tea-flavored syrup at that point? This isn't a mistake. It's the business model. That much sugar creates a burst of energy followed by a dip that keeps you coming back for another fix. The company sells it as indulgence with sophistication, but it's really the same cycle of craving dressed up in cafe colors. So swapping a soda for a McCafe drink doesn't move you forward. It just trades bubbles for foam. Now that the drinks, salads, and grilled chicken have all lost their glow, what lesson do you take the next time you see that little healthier choice tag shining from the menu board? The real health trap at McDonald's isn't the fries. It's the sense of virtue behind the light menu. Employees say nearly everything arrives pre-cooked, frozen, or resting under heat lamps, far from the fresh image in ads. That grilled chicken? Over 1,000 milligrams of sodium. The sweet tea? About 10 teaspoons of sugar. These healthier picks often outdo the burgers in hidden salt and syrup. Nutritionists say, Understanding what's in your food is the first step to making healthier choices. So check the panels, skip miracle labels, and like and subscribe to help us keep the spotlight on the food industry's best-kept secrets.